What's going on, smart people? Yesterday I talked a little bit about the qualifying exam that I have to take in just a little bit over a month. It is an 8-hour exam that's covering classical mechanics, quantum, E&M, and thermodynamics, all pitched at the undergraduate level. So anyone with a bachelor's degree in physics should technically be able to answer these problems. That's why it's offered really at the end or towards the end of your first year of grad school, that we don't get too far ahead. At first I thought it was a little bit weird because I haven't had thermo or E&M at the graduate level, and then I learned that the questions aren't pitched at the graduate level, so I should be fine. This test sounds like it's going to be very different from the physics GRE, which is okay with me. Instead of it being 100 multiple choice questions, it's going to be 4 sections. I think 4 sections. I could be a little bit wrong on that. But each section should have 3 questions. You choose 2 to do. I'm probably going to make a video in the near future on how the test is structured as a whole, and all of the specifics in that video. So anything specific that I say in this video I might be a little bit unsure about, so just bear with me. Now, if this test is structured how I think it is, which is basically saying I have 8 hours to answer 8 questions, that is perfect. I don't mind taking an 8-hour test if it's only 8 questions, because that means I have time to think. I have time to not know something off the top of my head and figure it out, which is a luxury that you are not afforded on the physics GRE. So this means I'm going to study for this in a much different way. It means I'm going to study for this in a much more natural way for me, which is placing a much larger emphasis on derivations and understanding rather than limiting cases and saying what happens if theta is pi over 2 or if m2 is much larger than m1. You know, this isn't going to be a multiple choice test. You can't do that here. Having said all that, I'm not just going to spend my entire time deriving things. Yeah, it's really important to make sure that I understand how all these equations are connected, and that may be different for different classes, what tools you use, but at a certain point I'll need to switch gears into making sure I have that practical understanding of problem solving in those classes, because each one of those classes approaches problem solving differently. Yeah, they all use critical thinking, but with thermo using so many Legendre transforms and E&M remembering how to exploit the geometry of the problem, it's tackling these problems in a very different way, and that is probably more important than making sure I know how to derive Maxwell's wave equation. I'm damn sure not going to be asked to do that. But what good is sort of knowing how to solve the problem if you still don't remember the equation to use and you don't remember how to derive it? So it's a bit of a balance there. I haven't had E&M or thermodynamics in over a year, but I still do feel pretty comfortable with E&M just because you use it from time to time, so I still know how to use things like Gauss's law, method of images, multipole expansion, the normal things that you would be asked, but I have forgotten quite a bit of thermodynamics. Thankfully, when I opened up my thermo notes from undergrad, the first page is pretty much my cheat sheet that goes over things like first law of thermodynamics all the way through statistical mechanics, basic statistical mechanics. So that's going to be extremely helpful as a template to be like, to let me remember what I don't remember. So I'm probably going to kick things off with thermo, and then we'll see how it goes. Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely still stressing over this test, but I'm still very thankful that the school is seemingly giving us a test that tests us in the way that physics students are trained to think, which is generally something I look for in a test. So thank you, NMSU-chan. I'm going to get to studying for thermo. Out of those 4 topics, which would you feel the least prepared to be tested on? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you guys there.